Hello, welcome back to the Dad Days. This is Josh. I've noticed that my how to use a feeding pump video is getting some traffic, so I thought that it would be helpful to create a how to use a G-tube or how to administer medications through a G-tube video. So this is it. Let's get into it. There's two main styles of G-tube. This is a little bit of a dated style. It is starting to get phased out by this new style, which I'll get into, but it has a screw top. This old style, you use a typical syringe that you would receive with a bottle of Tylenol, infant Tylenol, or infant ibuprofen, or whatever at the pharmacy that just has this type of tip. So you would just pop open the end of the G-tube and stick that right in. But let's start from scratch. So this is the end of so technically this is considered a G-tube extension. This tip right here would attach to your child's G-tube that is located on their stomach. So it just clips in and you can see the arrow. This little line lines up with another little line that's on the G-tube and it locks in place. So imagine that this is actually sticking on your child's stomach. So the first step is you always want to make sure this little clasp here is clicked shut. Before you would ever open anything, you always want to make sure that this is clicked shut. If for some reason this is left open or knocked open, bumped open, and you go to open this, there could be gas buildup in your child's stomach or something like that, and it pushes food or medication or something right back out of their extension. So you always want to make sure that that is locked in place. And then you would, this is purely just for educational purposes. So let's just go to 2.5 ml with this. There's all different sizes. So there's this size, there's this size, and there's many more. There's this size, like different lengths and thicknesses. And we would just go to whatever medication you're using, whatever amount it calls for, and you would draw it up in the syringe. And if you get any kind of an air bubble, you can see that air bubble floating back and forth inside of the syringe. You would want to put your syringe straight up and down, give it a little flick. If it's a little bit thicker of a medication, you would just give it a little flick. You want to make sure that the air bubble rises to the top of the syringe, and then you give just a little bit of pressure to get rid of all that unwanted air, so you have a better measurement of exactly the amount of medication you're looking to administer. And then as long as you make sure that that clamp is clicked shut, you would open the little lid and stick in the syringe, and then you would unhook that clasp, because then that breaks the pressure and allows you to push. This is just apple juice, by the way, so I'm going to just push it back into the little bowl. But then you would just push your medication right into the line. And then before you pull your syringe back out, you would want to click it back shut and make sure, because once you take your syringe out, if you don't click that clasp back shut, again, like I said before, all your medication is just going to come right back out of the G tube from the pressure of their stomach. So you click the clasp shut, you pull your syringe out, and then you shut the little door to the medical port, the medication port. And that's basically it. So after you have administered the medication, closed the clasp, taken your syringe out, and shut the door to the port, you can see that all the medication is right here in the line. So that's not really going to do your child any good. Typically, what you would do next is flush the line with a little bit of water. Let me grab a little bit of water and show you exactly what that looks like. This is about 15 ml of water, and I'll show you what that looks like. Again, you would start with the clasp shut, then you open the bigger door if you're using one of the bigger syringes. You would stick it in the end of the port, the open port. Then you unhook the clasp so it's open, you open it. Then you administer the water and you flush out. You flush all the medication into your child. That way it's actually working and it's inside of them. And then again, after that, you close the clamp. Then you remove the syringe. Then you shut the door. So it always goes in that order. Like I was saying earlier, though, this is a style of G-tube extension that is being phased out by this newer style that has screw doors. That way they can't accidentally be bumped open. Like, say your child's in his crib rolling around, in his or her crib rolling around, and they bump the clasp open, and then they bump one of the ports open. Well, now their stomach is wide open, and as they're rolling around, they could have gas or just be using their abdominal muscles and just pressing their formula or their feed or their water or their medication right out of their stomach all over the place. So the screw doors are definitely a nice plus and a positive way to move forward. So I'll lay this aside. I'll lay this and all the syringes that use that style port. So these are all the screw style that fit this. So I'll show you exactly how to use the newer style extension. So again, you know, there's different sizes, many different sizes. These are just a few that we have. You would just, these are nice too because they have the screw lids to them. So you could, if you're on the go, pre-measure some medication, screw it on, and bring it with you. Keep it in a little cooler if it needs to be refrigerated, what have you. But that's a nice little feature. So anyway, same exact procedure. You would measure it up. If you have any air bubbles, you'd flick them to the top, remove them. This is about 3 ml. So the first step is unscrewing one of the ports. You screw on the syringe. You unclamp the clasp. And then you administer the medication. Then you re-clamp, you shut the clamp, you remove the syringe, and then you screw the door back tight. And really that's all there is to it. You would do the same thing. You would flush with water. You unhook the clasp. And you flush the medication into your child's stomach by flushing the water through the line. You close the clasp, remove the syringe, and shut the door, and you're back in business. So that's really all there is to it. I just wanted to put out a video to show everyone how to administer medications through a G-tube extension for your child. I hope this video was helpful. And if you haven't already, I have a feeding pump tutorial video that would be a good accompaniment to this video. And as always, stay tuned for more Dad Days. Thanks for tuning in.